Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Church Bulletin podcast. Already getting a thumbs up from the computer, which we still don't know.
That's the great
what
mystery.
Does it? It is. Well, the great mystery is the Eucharist. This is a lesser, not to correct you, but this is a lesser mystery. But that's what we're kind of talking about today a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
It's the front cover of the bulletin. Absolutely. On this, the 20th Sunday of Ordinary Time for the Sunday of August 18th in the year of our Lord 2024. Now that I sound smart using big words, we can begin. I'm here with Father Luke, so anybody.
Good to be here with you, Tim.
Anybody and everybody's welcome. We're excited to share this with you. This is just a mosaic I found. I don't know where I found it, online somewhere, but it's interesting because as we're going through John chapter 6 and all the Gospels, the Bread of Life discourse, it ends with, not to spoiler alert, but it ends with the departure of many of the disciples from Jesus. Not the 12 apostles, but many of the disciples. It says, leave him and return to their former way of life. And what's interesting about a mosaic, if you've ever seen one, is you can kind of see it in this picture, but tons of little cracks. Why? Because each, it's tiled. It's not a painting. So you, like the tiles are painted, but you individually place like a puzzle each and every piece. And so it's interesting. I think it goes as well with the body of Christ. We're all needed. Jesus calls all of us to the banquet of the Lamb. And if any of us, wander away or don't participate, or don't enter in, like that has an impact on the image. So that's what I got when I was picking it out.
Yeah, it's beautiful to think about.
So yeah. So however you see the image of Jesus with the Eucharist as the bread of life come down from heaven, feel free to share that with us at any time, or just talk amongst yourselves. Pray with the bulletin. That's what we want to encourage you to do. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, a couple
picture?
of thoughts.
Yeah?
I like this as well. And what really caught my eye at first was the intentionality in the facial expression of Jesus. He just seems really intentional about it.
Yes.
And that's kind of what we've been walking through with John chapter 6 in these gospel passages, is just how intentional Jesus is about the Eucharist.
I love that.
And the other thing, too, that caught my eyes, we see one of the apostles, probably John, right next to Jesus with a halo around him. And the Eucharist, Jesus is giving us the Eucharist. Why? Because we're in need of it.
Yeah.
We're in need of his love, but it helps us to grow in holiness. So we can see that even someone like John, the disciple whom he loved, John needed the Eucharist too. It sanctified John. It can sanctify us as well. So This is a wonderful, I love this image. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Google, thank you.
Yes, yep.
On-air drinking coffee in the middle of the day.
And I have a Coca-Cola.
There we go.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Very good. So that's the cover. So yeah, not a lot, not too much has changed on the first couple of pages. Again, as we say all the time, you are welcome, to contact us. All of our contact information is in the bulletin for a reason. It's to let you know that it's okay to send us emails. It's okay to call us. We are, I should say, we try to be very interruptible as a staff here. Obviously, we ask for your respect and consideration, but at the same time, if you need something, we're here for you. Jesus was very interruptible. Like, there's so many stories where it's like I would say some of the major themes in the Gospels, Jesus is doing one thing and he is stopped by someone.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what he was going to go do, but nope, he's going to this guy's house to heal somebody or whatever. So if you need something, don't hesitate to reach out to us. So, in the Together as a Family reflect and pray. Words are hard. This week, I just want to encourage you to, as we look at like the Magnificat and different things like that, where we get these things from, to just think about the goodness of the Lord, and try and imitate him. I mean, it's really quite that simple. Not easy to do, but simple. But then it also encourages looking back. So when this Sunday happens, we'll have already celebrated the Feast of the Assumption, which we're filming this on a Wednesday, so that will be tomorrow. Excited to celebrate that feast. But that it just encourages, Mary I think I don't think it's just me. I think there are other people as well, is the best at revealing Jesus. Like that's our motto or mission statement, but that's Mary's life, is she revealed Jesus to the world, through the incarnation, but then of course the way that she followed him, but then also, how she, continues to serve. I mean, that's the thing that I love about Mary is assumed into heaven. She's then of course made, I got a thumbs up for that one. She's made,
that's 2 thumbs
she's
up
made
today.
I know, she's made the queen of heaven and earth. And then she continues to pray and to care and to love all of us. So that's kind of the encouragement, is for you to imitate Christ, but also, and to appreciate, the goodness of God, but also to imitate, Mary, how she imitated Christ, so pretty cool.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So, and then also in Uno's tip of the week, it's just something that I was praying with. There's so much change happening. Parishes change. I wrote, the seasons change, opinions change, governments change, cultures change, people change, families change, pastors change, parishes change. And I don't necessarily mean like, they were one way and then they changed their mind about something. I mean, that's not what I meant. I meant more like the shift, like the actual, like a priest maybe is moved, or, a government, is changed after election or whatever, like the big ones. And so, but that with the Jesus words do not change. And Jesus does not change. And so then the question we asked was, do you know what Jesus says? Like his words don't pass away. Do you know what they are? And do you know what he wants from you? Do you know how Jesus wants you to reveal him to others? And so the question, the idea behind that is, continue to study, continue to grow. I mean, Father Luke knows everything already, so you're done learning.
No. I have, that's the fun of learning.
And that's it. That's what I was going to say. Tom, maybe
as you learn,
I was going to ask you, what do you think about, like, is there ever a point where you might on earth feel like, oh, like I know enough about the faith?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty, is that with mystery. I think that thumbs up was for you.
No,
so that's the hat trick
for you.
I think that's the hat trick. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Tim.
I made it.
You got the hat trick of thumbs up. That's wonderful. I think that because the faith is so beautiful and as amazing as God is, that there really isn't a ceiling. And so if anything with the saints, they just continue to like press into the mystery more and more. And there's something really beautiful about that. Now, of course, someday in the future, we'll be gifted by God's grace with the beatific vision, and how beautiful that'll be. But I think on this side of heaven, we'll just keep pressing into the mystery, and yearning for more and more.
And not to quote a great priest, but your homily last Sunday, you said something that struck me because I got to hear it a couple of times. You said, in heaven we won't need the Eucharist.
Yeah.
The Eucharist is our food for the journey now.
Yeah.
It is what unites us to Jesus now, but eventually we won't need it. We will have him.
Yeah.
And so I think that just like the Eucharist, we can't get enough of Jesus here on earth. The same with seeking understanding, of him. Like you can't, I always get a kick out of people when I was a full-time youth minister. I'd get a kick out of youth who would be like, I don't know, I just find the Catholic faith boring. And I would be like, all right, explain the Trinity to me. And they would, because I taught them that. And then they'd be like, well, wait a second. I'm like, Now go think about it. It's not boring, is it? So continue to add. That's why this isn't, I feel like some of these reflections could feel like maybe an affronting prompt. You're like, oh, you don't know enough, or oh, you're this way or that way. But no, it's more just a thing for everybody to ask the question. Am I who I am supposed to be? Am I following Jesus where I am? It's not meant to be offensive or to be judgmental, but just more so just a reflection to be like, Jesus, how can I draw closer to you today? How can you use me today? This is the prayer of saints. So we're trying to make some of those around here. So feel free to pray with those. Anything else you want to add to all that?
No, I love this tip of the week too. Just last night I was with a couple of friends from seminary. They're now priests in their given diocese, and we were reading through a wonderful document, and Pope Benedict XVI was sharing commentary, and what he shared is that everybody needs to focus on the questions that are long-lasting. In other words, the questions that are in each and every century, each and every generation, because the point he was making is some of these other questions are to the point of change. They come up and then they go away. They come up, but there's some questions that are always rising up in our culture, and that would be, what's really going to make me happy? Who is Jesus of Nazareth?
You got your first one.
There we go. Got a thumbs up. Got a thumbs up.
Yeah, we're doing
so there we go. We're doing
today.
pretty good today. And I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Because it helps us in the changings of life to ground ourselves in that which is most important, which is Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
And so this is a really good tip of the week. Something actually, I think it's something worth reflecting on. I need to think about it a little bit more too.
Yeah.
This is a good tip of the week.
Well, it's kind of funny because just a quick shout out for later. After we're done filming this episode of the Parish Bulletin, we'll be doing the Church Bulletin insert episode 2.
Yeah.
And we're going to be switching spots because last time you came back from the Eucharistic Congress,
Yes,
and I got to ask you questions.
Yeah.
I just came back with Father Ross Maselli, our pastor and fearless leader, from the Wonder Conference with Word on Fire. So Father Luke and I are going to switch spots, and he gets to ask me questions. So, and you ran into me in the hallway, and you're like, "I've been preparing. I've been learning about the conference." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But actually, this tip of the week really came out of that conference. So watch that
That's
episode,
awesome.
and I'll explain it a little
Yeah.
bit more. But
Yeah.
but really, just the idea. There was one thing that Bishop Barron said that I will share in this episode just to make sure everybody hears it. And it was right near the beginning, and also the host, one of the directors of Word on Fire, said it. We've lost the ability as a culture, so within the church and also within the public sphere, to hear viewpoints and knowledge that we might disagree with and take time to sit with them. You know, we're very quick as a people to hear something that doesn't necessarily sit right with us and just immediately throw it out as just, garbage. But yet there is truth in everything. But also it can be good to reflect on an opposing viewpoint. One of my favorite people, St. John Paul II, was often found carrying Karl Marx's book in his cassock pocket, along with his Bible, and because he knew it better than most of the communist leaders that he was dealing with at the time, and so he was able to reason with them, talk to them, because he knew their ideology, and so he was able to sit with it. And that was one of the encouragements that I walked away from that conference with was it's okay to hear something that may not be true. And to actually take a day, take a night, sleep on it, I think the term is, and just let it, not change your viewpoint, but also kind of enforce the truth in your mind. Be like, no, this actually isn't true. But then it also gives you a chance to calm down if it riles you up a little bit, and you can then respond accordingly. I remember my dad always used to tell me he would do anger management counseling. He's a counselor, and he would always be like, make sure you don't put their email address in, but write the email, then delete it, and write it again. Yeah. Like always be like calm down. Yeah. Peter talks about it in 1 Peter where he says, always be ready to give an account for the hope that is in you. He says, but do it with gentleness and reverence. Keep your conscience clear so that when you're reviled for your good behavior in Christ, that person or those people, whatever, will be put to shame. Yeah. And I think that comes from having an assurance of faith, an assurance of who you are, and that comes from these questions. Do I know who I am? Do I know why I'm here? And for us Catholics, if we're practicing our faith, the answer is yes, which is so great because of the Eucharist. And baptism. Hey, I got 4. I'm winning. Baptism for the win. Father Luke, you got to do 2 baptisms.
I did. It was really an honor. Yeah. 2 wonderful families, the Bird family, the Peterson family, and could just see the joy in the families as well, and then also those who came to support the 2 who were baptized. And as a Catholic priest, it's really an honor to celebrate baptism.
We've had a lot lately.
Chance. Yeah, I was just gonna say I've had the chance to have a couple, and I think I'm growing in greater appreciation for the Church's wisdom on the rite. So the structure of the liturgy of the baptism. The prayer.
What do you mean by that?
So, so the what the church proposes on here's how a baptism should be done. And so beginning with the opening prayers, moving to the questions to the parents, the litany of the saints is really beautiful. But then the prayer over the water, to bless the water, is really beautiful. It's actually a summary of salvation history through how God chose to use water. So just like quick snapshot, we've got Noah. Obviously, there's water there, present with Noah's Ark. Then we have Moses leading the Israelites out. They dry shod through the Red Sea. We make our way to John the Baptist, who baptizes Jesus. Then there's water that comes forth from the side of Jesus and blood that comes forth from the side. So just like water. It's like, wow, was God intentional?
No kidding
about this. And so it's just awesome. It really touched my heart this last baptism. I'm like, these two babies who were baptized are entering in. Oh, we got another thumbs up.
4-2.
They're entering into this wonderful story of salvation history, and we're all characters in this story too. I mean, it's awesome. So this kind of goes the whole mystery part. It's just more and more.
Well, and I think it's interesting when you actually pay attention to the person. And I actually will give a shout out to you back then. I didn't say anything to you on the day because I was like, I don't want to be weird. But I was like, I was kind of in and out during the baptism, doing other things, but also like bring the candle down, like different things. But like I walked by while you were blessing the water.
Okay.
I mean, you were in it. It was awesome.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, Spirit's moving.
Yeah.
This is good. So
yeah, the Spirit was moving.
but I don't know. Like, it's not that you're not always intentional about what you're doing.
Sure,
because you are.
Yeah.
But there was like, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
I got the.
Well, that's awesome.
I got I was like, my spirit sense is tingling.
Yeah, that's cool. The other thing to add would be the joy of the parents. That's something that struck me the last couple baptisms is the joy that it brings the parents to see their children baptized. That's really awesome.
I was gonna say because it's. I mean, that's been something I've noticed too, because in other parishes I've worked at, not that the parents aren't joyful, but like I always felt like the grandparents were more excited in a lot of cases, but not these last few weeks. These last few weeks has been it's been a real blessing. And I think what's also neat is people seeing, like you did these past two, the previous week, Deacon Dick was able to do one. Father Ross then had one. Yeah. So like seeing the ministry of the church, done by different ordained clergy has been really neat.
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of blessings and all of that stuff, shout out to my little girl, Amia, my daughter. She got to model for the Bulletin. We're going to have a backpack blessing next weekend. So not this weekend, but next weekend, August 24th and 25th. If you are going back to school, and I think this applies for satchels, maybe for college students. I don't know if they're still around. I don't know. But anyhow, I think they'll be in school by then. But youth, students, if you're heading back to school, bring your backpack to Mass with you. It doesn't matter what Mass.
Yeah.
It's not a special Mass or some of that. Any Mass that you want to come to in the parish, just come and bring your backpack. And then I assume at the end of Mass, Father will bless your backpack, and I think you as well. So feel free to, I think that's what I wrote here. Yeah. Blessing for the backpacks and the students wearing them. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So we're going to do that.
What a great way to start the school year.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think what's kind of neat actually too, is it's going to be on August 24th and 25th to bless the backpacks for the 24-25 school year.
That's clever. That is very clever.
I don't even know if that was planned. It's probably the Holy Spirit. I don't know.
Wow.
And then, of course, we've had it in a bunch. But, it is that time of year getting into that. So Pope Francis has asked us to pray for all political leaders. So please, regardless of your political affiliation, please keep our political leaders in your prayers, that they may hear the wisdom of God and let that influence all of their decisions, all of that kind of stuff. So
I have something to add there, too.
Go for it.
I think I shared this last week as well. So the prior Pope, Pope Benedict the 16th, God rest his soul. I love what he describes, how he describes serving in politics. He calls it social charity, and that is really something beautiful worth thinking about.
That's beautiful.
So what you had just shared too about praying for our political leaders. We got another thumbs
4-3.
There we
you
go.
got the hat trick.
I feel like you have a button or something.
No, it's right here. You can see I don't want to actually turn off the recording, but it's right here. I'm like, ah. So as you have seen, I have not touched it. Like, as you said, I take back what I said at the beginning. This is the great mystery. Just below the Eucharist. It's like the Eucharist, mercy,
that's
thumbs
good
up.
stuff.
Whatever.
That's good stuff.
Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, but I love that with social charity. And there's something about, on our end, praying for political leaders that they do see it as social charity, to be driven by love and to always be driven by love. So the Pope is, in his wisdom, he's on to it.
That's awesome.
All the popes, especially
make,
the last two.
I might have to make a meme of that one for the Facebook page and Instagram, because that's I've never heard that saying before. I like that.
Yeah,
I missed that. I love Pope Benedict, but I missed that one. Social charity. I like that's fantastic. So there you go. Add that to the thing. Please pray for them. Erie Gives just went down yesterday. We're still learning what the tally is when we had to submit the bulletin. So it's not in there this week, but we'll, I'm sure, have an update as to how much was given, and you guys gave a lot. We are so grateful. Things aren't always easy financially in our world today. So for those of you that gave so generously, any amount, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're partnering with the school to refurbish a middle school classroom, which I believe it said in last week's bulletin hasn't been done since the founding of the school. So I think Father Ross put in there since time began.
Okay.
So anyway, so thank you so much, because it's also going to greatly impact our faith formation students as well, our youth, because when we have Edge or Purpose, we will be using a lot of those classrooms too. So it very much is a partnership between the parish, church, and the school. So thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. Also, thank you to everyone who golfed at the St. Andrew Golf Tournament, benefiting the St. Jude, St. Andrew Food Pantry. Very excited about that, because that is a huge ministry. So many people are fed by it, and so your support of it, greatly appreciated. So thank you guys, and I believe we'll see you next year, hopefully, for another one of those. This page is very much a repeat. The ministry opportunities, same as last week. Always need more people. Our Eucharistic ministers, I know people are gone, on vacation a little bit here at the end, but we've, it's not that we've been short, but a lot of people are scheduled every week, over the next couple months. And it's not that we can't, get through it if someone gets sick or something, but, we don't want people who are extraordinary ministers of Holy Communion to get burnt out. Like sometimes it can be stressful. I got to get to Mass. Like I not that we wouldn't be going to Mass, but you know what I mean. So if you find yourself feeling the urge to serve in some capacity within the parish, please let us know. Give us a call. We'd be happy to talk to you about that. A lot of opportunities, as you can read about. And then there is a little addition to the Facebook portion. Just one more time, just reminding people that our Facebook page is now St. Jude Live. It is no longer anything else. So on Facebook, on Instagram, it is St. Jude the Apostle Church, I think, or parish. But on Facebook, it is St. Jude Live. So if you're following or subscribing to anything on Facebook other than St. Jude Live, it is not us that you are following. If you follow St. Jude Live, it's us. But I also threw in this little thing. It's called, my wife, who works in social media marketing, was telling me about social media ambassadors. And I was like, what is that? So I looked it up. And it's basically like there are people who will literally spend a lot of their time doing what's called influencing, where they make tons of videos, tons of gag reel, little funny things, or serious things, whatever, to help promote a topic. And so while you might not have, 15,000 followers, I don't know, maybe you do. If you do, awesome. But if not, that's okay. But even just to your friends, your family, your coworkers, like, we're called to evangelize everybody, so we would love to reveal Jesus. And a great way that you can do that and help us do that is by sharing, liking, and commenting on our posts. This isn't me being like, hey, we need more attention. We would love, to get lots of likes on our post. That's not what I'm saying. It's more so, if you share it, odds are people that maybe you're friends with on social media, whether on Instagram or Facebook, they'll see it where they wouldn't see it if we just share it. So it's a great, simple way for you to help us reveal Jesus to the community here in Erie and the surrounding area, and I guess the world, because it's the internet. So That's cool.
Yeah.
Somebody from this was like right when we started the podcast, but like we had this one random viewer from England for a while. That was kind of neat. You never know. You never know where something's going to end up. So, and then we're also over at the school. Mrs. Morphy, the principal, asked to highlight this. Really, really looking for a middle school science teacher and math teacher. So if you're watching this and you know someone who is in education and is looking for a gig, give their information to Mrs. Morphy, or Mrs. Morphy's information is in the front of the bulletin. You can give that to them so that they can reach out. It's also in here. You can apply. I think the link is here. Yes, it is. So please, I'd love your help with that. So very good. And then just some things going on around the diocese. We had both diocesan anniversary celebrations are either happened or about to happen. But you can still get a certificate from the diocese, commemorating your anniversary. If you would like that information, how to get it is in the bulletin here. Also, this is neat. I was interested in this one, actually. Erie Parish offers presentation on what is hospice. That I thought was an interesting topic. So that's going to be over, looks like a Blessed Sacrament. So if that's a topic that interests you, go check that out. Also, Pittsburgh Men's Conference is coming up. A lot of cool speakers. I was excited to see Tim Glemkowski.
Yes.
He's done a lot of work for Eucharistic Revival. So feel free to sign up for that. You'd have to obviously get down there and everything, but I was like, ooh, that's a cool speaker.
I agree.
Yeah, and then, of course, we put this in before, but if you're interested in traveling to Ireland and Medjugorje with Father Brian Vossler, pastor of St. George, this trip is open to anybody. You can sign up for that. So that's the bulletin. Woot. Woot, woot. So, 4-3 for the thumbs up.
Yes,
both hat tricks. I feel good coming out on top. I'm happy I didn't sweep you. That would have been really awkward.
See, that's what I was kind of thinking. Maybe you had a button or something.
No,
it was like 3-0.
It was I
started to come up.
Well, it's funny because it reminded me, because I'm a huge hockey fan, and my team, the Minnesota Wild, are just infamous for coming in hot, scoring a bunch of goals, and then just not necessarily losing, but not scoring and giving up points. I'm like, no, this is happening. It's just like it. Here you go. So anyway,
awesome.
All right. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, share, all the good things. Also, be sure to check out the Church Bulletin insert part 2 or episode 2.
Yeah.
We're going to switch seats and go from there. All right. God bless.
Hey. That was at the same time.
Look at that. Well, actually, I think obviously we're both baptized priest, prophet, and king, but it might mean a little bit more ecclesially or whatever coming from you. So anyway, all right. Thank you all.